Hello everyone, and welcome back to Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. I meant to unbind the turbo mode from my spacebar, but I forgot, so I will again have to try avoiding my spacebar. Now, first things first, some slight information about how this will work. The entire LP, so bits of talking. It's a fairly extensive role-playing game, very well, the main story isn't that long, but there's a lot of things you can do, lots of side missions and side quests and optional stuff you can find. As you sort of expect from a Final Fantasy game, there's just endless stuff you can collect. In Serial we actually see an indication of the first thing you could really collect, which is the Monster Bank. Currently I have no monsters, so welcome to the Monster Bank. How may I help you? List. You have to capture a monster before you can raise it. How may I help you? Okay, so I can only see the list once I've captured at least one monster. There's a job system in the game, and I'll just say this now, it'll make more sense once I've explained further. If I have a human who's become a hunter, then that hunter can capture enemy monsters on the field, and they will then be placed into the monster bank, where I can sort of see them all. I don't believe there's anything it really does except for, you know, collect all the monsters. Again, nothing really to be done about that. And I aim to get that complete list, but as far as I know it's quite difficult because some monsters appear fairly rarely, and there are things in this game that you can miss. So if you don't get, I don't know, a specific item that you can steal from a specific enemy, if you don't get that, for example, maybe the item is lost for the rest of the game. Or if there's a certain monster that only appears early on in the game, if you don't capture it then, it might just be that for the rest of the game you will never see that monster again, so tough luck. Which actually means is very soon we'll be at a point where random enemies start appearing on the map. At that point I will start training up my characters off screen, leveling them up and changing their classes around and all that. I guess I should really go into that once I'm in the party menu. Again, this will be a bit talky, but the actual fight this time around won't be very long. Okay, so as we can see, this is our main character called New Kid, and he's a soldier. We have Mont Blanc, who's a black mage. It's a little unfortunate that it's a black mage, because Moogles aren't actually very good mages, but because he starts out as a mage and he has sort of mage-ish stats to begin with, I will keep him as a black mage. He will not be a very good character, but nothing to be done about that. New Kid. Right now, he only has the basic human jobs available, and humans are very diverse. They have lots of jobs. I could make him a thief, a white mage, a black mage, or an archer. Or, he is currently a soldier. And the way the system works in this game, some equipment gives you abilities. So, for example, this short sword, which I'm currently carrying, teaches a soldier, that's the first item in that list, a human soldier can learn first aid from that for 100 AP. And you get a variable amount of AP as a reward for combat. It doesn't really depend on how you did in that fight, it just depends on the fight, basically. Each fight has a set amount of AP, but it varies from fight to fight. There are certain ones that give up to 80, there are some which give you 20 or so. It just depends, I guess. And once I've earned 100 AP, I've learned this ability. I can use it as long as I've got the weapon equipped, but once I've learned it, I can use it even if I've got a different weapon equipped. So basically you learn it for 100 AP, and those get added automatically. You don't accumulate and spend them. Basically, any ability that you're currently learning will get all the AP from the fight that you just won. And I can learn multiple abilities at the same time. And a Banga warrior would also learn first aid from that, but we don't have one of those. And then there's the Bronze Shield, which teaches shield bearer to soldiers, warriors, and fencers. And both of these will gain the same amount of AP from fights. So if a fight gives me 80 AP, it doesn't get divided or anything like that. Both abilities will get those 80 AP. And once I've reached the limit and learned the ability, it is then available even if I unequip the relevant piece of equipment. Now the way it works is, once I have 2 soldier skills learned, I will be able to unlock further advanced jobs, which I'm actually aiming to do. because depending on what job your character has, he gains different stat bonuses on leveling up, appropriate to the class. So if I've got a mage class, he will get MP and magic power. If I've got a warrior or a physical class, he will get weapon attack and defense and HP, but not as much mana. Stuff like that. Now, the way I've planned it out, the initial party members will probably not become really min-maxed characters. I'm just going to play around with them to sort of suit my needs. However, New Kid, because he's our main character, he will be seeing a lot of play, which is why I'm only going to teach him 2 warrior abilities, soldier abilities, and those are probably going to be Shield Bearer and the First Aid, both of which he's already learning. I should probably show you that right here. It's, you know, I have already learned Combat Combo, and Shield Bearer is at 0, First Aid is at 0. Essentially, once I do combat, these bars will fill up. I will also tell him to use items, and why not Shield Bearer? Shield Bearer, what it does is, if I were to change to a class that doesn't by itself have the ability to use shields, I could equip the support ability Shield Bearer, and that would then allow me to wear a shield even if I were, for example, changing him to a Black Mage, which would be stupid, but I could do it. But yes, I'm going to teach him exactly 2 soldier abilities without leveling him up, so he will still be level 3. Then I can change his class to Fighter, which is the human class that gets the best stats for a physical damage dealer. And he will stay a soldier, a fighter, until the end of the game, basically. Just to give him the best stats. No... Mont Blanc will stay a Black Mage, won't be a very good Black Mage, sort of mediocre really. Moogles are better at physical jobs, but because he already has level 4 and a bunch of stats that are good for Black Mages, I'll just stick to it because there's really not much else I can do. I could switch him around to a Thief and then give him the more physically oriented jobs. The default jobs for a Moogle, by the way, are Thief, Animist and Black Mage. Sharu is a soldier, a human soldier. I will keep him as that as well, for the moment at least. We have a White Monk, which is a Banga. Sort of a... Well, Bangas are very physically oriented characters. I can choose him as a warrior or a monk. Monks are slightly sort of more... I think... If you know Dungeons and Dragons, kind of like that. Monks are a little faster, sort of using knuckles and fist weapons and such, and warriors are your typical warriors. So, there is that. We have Napkov, who's a Numu. Did I read their names? Turner and Sharu? I think I did. Napkov, a Numu. I think that's their name. They're sort of elephant-cow crossover things. I don't quite know what to call them, really. They are physically very weak, but very good with magic. And their default jobs are White Mage, Beastmaster, and Black Mage. Did I show... I think I did. And he will also stay as a White Mage for the moment, until he's learned a bunch of White Mage abilities. Then I'll switch him over to Black Mage, and then I'll see if I switch him around further. Again, I won't do any min-maxing on the characters we have in the party right now, except for the main character, because he will be sort of... I have to use him in a lot of fights. And finally we have Viola, who's an archer. She's a Viera, which is an all-female race of bunnies, which is good, because if there were also male bunnies, well, you know what happens if you put a male and a female bunny together. And their default jobs are Archer, does exactly what it says on the tin. Fencer, which is a melee class that deals with, well, uses fencing weapons, you know, sort of less brute force, more precision, I guess. And White Mages, which are identical to the White Mages that humans and Numu can become. And that's our party for the moment. Finally, I can go to the shop. Well, not finally, but secondly, I guess. I can go to the shop, I can buy stuff. The list of items that are available for buying will extend as I progress through the game. Depending on how many fights I've won and how much land my clan owns, which we'll get to, the list of items that are being sold will slowly expand. The first 2 or 3 expansions will be fairly major. I think once I've won 5 battles and once I've won 10 battles, I should get the first expansions, and they will be pretty big. Once I've Once I've gotten these 2 big expansions, the other ones will only be adding 1 or 2 items to specific shops, I believe, so... yeah. I think there might be one thing I want to buy. I don't have much money at the moment. I've got 5,000 gil and there's weapons that cost more, and I can't buy the weapon I want yet, so that's okay. Really, I can also buy potions and all sorts of status ailment undoing items. And I can sell stuff as well for... Actually, we can check. The short sword I can sell for 150. And I could buy a short sword for 270, so... I think there's some sort of price reduction, maybe for about half of what the base cost of the item is. Maybe, I don't quite know. Anyway, I won't be selling very much, but I can. And then finally there's the pub. Let's go to Sprome. Sprome has the prison, which is where law is served and justice... Law is master and justice is served, that way around. If I had someone in combat who got sent to prison by me doing something that's forbidden, they would be here and I could release them, but they would remain... Their penalty, sort of, they would still have the... I guess the record of their deeds would still be there. For example, if they got a red card, it would still say 1 red card. However, if I choose to pardon someone, for example, someone got a yellow card, but didn't actually get sent to prison, I could now say, okay, he's got a yellow card, keep him in here until the punishment is done. In which case, that yellow card will essentially be removed from the record. Neither of which I can really do because I haven't broken any laws yet. I aim to not do it at all, but on occasion it's unavoidable, it just sort of happens, because I don't pay attention. Farewell, may the light of righteousness be your guide. Thank you. There's a shop here as well. I think at the moment they will sell the exact same items. Later on there are slight differences in what shop sells what, and also the prices, but it's not particularly relevant really. And finally the pub, which is where we'll be going now. And the talking part is almost over, we're about to get to the fight, so bear with me. Greetings. So actually there's a bit more talking coming up, sorry. There's rumors. Most of these are just background information on the game. The ones with the exclamation mark in front of them you could technically ignore, but I'll read through them to make sure I don't forget anything. The ones without the exclamation marks are kind of background story related, but you should always read all of them, because sometimes reading a rumor will unlock quests. Missions, they're called. And reading a rumor may also unlock a different rumor. So, let's just say you're reading about Clan Borzoi, sort of a big bad clan. That might unlock a quest related to dealing with Clan Borzoi. Stuff like that. Okay, laws, a history. How laws came to be. Laws have been a part of life in Ivalice for hundreds of years. The king in those days used powerful magic to create the first laws. The king then established the judicial system to enforce his laws. Knowledge of the means to control the laws has been passed down the royal line ever since. Unfair laws. Resentment towards Queen Remedy has been building these last few years. The reason? Frequent and seemingly arbitrary changes in the law. In the laws, it's gone so far that some pundits rightly say she's doing it to please that brat, the prince. Clan Borzoi. I hear Clan Borzoi's on the warpath. These days, challenging other clans fighting for turf. Ugh, things just aren't the way they used to be. And reading that has unlocked a new rumor. It's kind of annoying in this menu. If you read a rumor that doesn't unlock a new one, after you're done the cursor will be at the rumor you just read. If it unlocks a new one, it sets you back to the top of the list. It's just a quirk of how it's programmed, but it's a little annoying. Anyway, dirty secret. Borzoi's dirty secret. Word on the streets that Clan Borzoi's got the backing of a foreign criminal ring. Maybe one with eyes on Ivalice itself. Abilities. Abilities. If you want to win when you engage, master some abilities. Your weapons and armor determine which abilities you can use, so choose carefully. You'll also need some ability points, AP, to learn abilities. You can get those by equipping weapons and armor and weapons, and then by clearing missions. Everybody who goes on a mission has a chance of getting AP. It's not a chance, it's a guarantee. So be sure to take along your friends. That's all, good luck to you. Ability types. Action abilities. Standard actions like Black Magic or Monk Tag. Reaction abilities, dodging or striking back when attacked. Support abilities, enhancement abilities such as double sword. Combo abilities, abilities triggered when an ally uses a combo. We'll get to those eventually. Job change. Job changing can come in handy. Any soldier can cast spells by changing jobs to mage. Choose the right job to maximize your engagement potential. One thing though, your race determines what jobs you can be. Only Vieras can become quick-footed fencers, and Bangas are tailor-made warriors, so make lots of friends. Expert jobs. The better you are at one job, the more job options that become available. Expert jobs give access to powerful abilities like double sword and jump. Conditions. Win-lose conditions. Thought engaging was all about defeating your enemy? Think again. There are many kinds of win condition depending on the engagement. You can check the win condition during an engagement by selecting mission from the main command menu. But there's a lose condition as well, so be careful. If New Kid leaves an engagement, whether he's sent to prison or even zombified and then snuffed, you lose. I believe if I resurrect him, I don't lose instantly, but if he leaves combat for some reason, I'm done for. Combos. Ever notice the judge gives you a judge point when you defeat an enemy? You can use those points to cooperate on combo attacks. Stock up those judge points and do some real damage. Just make sure your allies have combo abilities so they can pitch in. What this means is, we'll get to that much later because combos are kind of difficult to learn, but for each weapon type there's a mithril weapon. So there's a mithril sword, a mithril sword, a mithril greatsword, a mithril nightsword, a mithril bow, all that. Equipping that on a particular character that can equip that weapon will likely teach him the combo for his class. Basically, some classes can carry multiple types of weapons. For example, I might have a class that can carry both night swords and great swords. And I will get the combo from the night sword but not from the great sword. Just an example. Basically, one of the weapon types will teach that combo. And once I've got the combo equipped, I can choose the combo command in combat. And then any character who's in range and who also has a combo equipped will be able to join in the attack on a particular target. For example, if I've got two ranged characters in range of my target and I myself am using a combo in melee range, the ranged characters will join in and shoot as well, which those can be the most damaging attacks in the game. Laws. Laws set by the Palace reign in Ivalice. Judges enforce those laws, and those who break them are penalized, even sent to prison in the worst cases. There are two kinds of cards you can get for breaking a law. A minor infraction gets you a yellow card. A major infraction will earn you a red card. Whichever penalty card you get, it'll go down on your record, and the more cards on your record, the steeper your penalty becomes, so watch out. Basically, ideally, don't break the law. Law rankings. The judges use a ranking system to classify laws. The stricter the law, the higher its rank. R1 laws are easy, but an R5 law is nothing but trouble. Treasure hunt. Sometimes treasure appears when you place a symbol on the world map. When you see a symbol shaking, that's where the treasure is, so go get it. Okay, so that's it. Sit down, take a load up. Now we're going to actually do a mission, or buy a mission. We have to buy the information about the mission from the innkeeper. It's how he makes his money. And by selling alcohol, I guess. What mission will you take? Herb picking. We only have one available at the moment, really. Looking for people to gather the fever-reducing herb, Muskmalloy, on the Gizar Plains. No experience necessary. By the Ivalice Pharmacist Guild. To win this we have to clear a battle, or to clear this we have to win a battle, rather, and a reward of 600 guilds will be ours for the taking. No required items, no required skills, no required jobs, and we can't cancel it. Okay. Okay, New Kid, you got any mission items? Those are items you need for certain missions. You can get them by completing missions. Looks like you don't have any yet, so just hit OK. This will become relevant later on. Some missions require you to have a certain item. Say you're on a mission where you're supposed to teach someone, I don't know, a new language. You might need a dictionary to be able to do that mission. Stuff like that. But you can also take an item with you that you don't require for the mission. Items that are required will be used up, so if, using that same example, the dictionary would be gone after I've used it to teach someone a new language. It's just how the system works. If I also chose to take along, say, a broken sword, that broken sword would be with me, and it might give bonuses during the quest, but afterwards it won't be gone. Only ones that are required will be gone. That will become relevant with certain quest items later on. There are some which give you a chance to get special characters. And there's one very useful one later on called the Ally Finder, and it's upgrade the Ally Finder 2, which if you bring those along on a mission, you are guaranteed to get a new character wanting to join the clan after that mission, which otherwise there's only a chance. And if you actually choose the Ally Finder 2, which is fairly difficult to get, you're guaranteed to get an advanced class. So someone who's got an advanced job, not just one of the basic ones that we've seen just now, but sort of a special job, which is good. Because, I'm talking a lot, I'm sorry. But the way it works is, if I get a warrior, if I get a warrior at level 10, for example, wanting to join my clan, he will have the stats of a level 10 warrior, which means it's like he would have leveled up from level 1 as a warrior. If he were instead going to try join me as a dragoon, which is an advanced job, his stats would be as if he had leveled up as a dragoon from level 1, which is really a lot more useful, because dragoons get better stat growth than warriors. It really does depend on what you're looking for precisely, but each job has different stat growth, and usually the advanced jobs have better ones, or at least more specialized ones. So the basic jobs are often enough more average growth, nothing, jack of all trades, master of none, nothing grows particularly quick, but nothing grows really badly either. And if I choose a really specialized combat class, for example, my MP and magic power growth would be pathetic, but I would get lots of points in combat attributes. I think you get the point anyway, just hit OK. Make sure you're cool with the mission before signing up. We've read all this. Fee, 300 gil, and we have to win the battle. Yep. Accept these conditions? Well, we have no choice. That'll be 300 gils for the info. Thanks. Kupo? Find any good missions, Kupo? Yeah, there was one that seemed easy enough. It was the only one, incidentally. And when can you start, Kupo? Right away. Let's get ready then. I want to make your first mission a success, Kupo. And I've now explained the general stuff I'll be doing, so don't expect that much talking anymore for the rest of the game, essentially. Well, as much explaining. A few more things. If I hit the L button, which is actually mapped to A on my keyboard, it brings up the current law. So, as you can see, the law that's active right now is the Confuse law, which means I'm not allowed to confuse, and it's recommended that I do Berserk. If I do the stuff that's forbidden, I will get a penalty. If I do the thing that gets recommended, even if I do it without killing anyone, I will get a judge point immediately. It just has to be successful. Better example might be the law that's active tomorrow, which is Fire and Ice. If I use a fire spell, and I hurt someone but don't kill him, I will get a yellow card. If I actually kill someone, I'll get a red card. However, if I use an ice ability, like say the standard ice spell, I will get a judge point even if I didn't kill anyone, as long as I've actually done that ice damage. If I completely missed with the attack, nothing happens. But if I do the ice damage without killing someone, I will get a judge point. If I kill someone with ice damage, I will still only get one judge point. For any action, you can get at most one judge point. If you did something that killed 6 enemies in a single go with ice damage when ice is actually recommended, you would still only get one judge point. You don't get 12. It's just how the game works. There's one additional useful feature. If I hit the L button while I'm hovering over a tile that's further away, for example this empty one here, it'll show me what law would be active if I were to go there by the most direct route. So, to get to this tile, I would take three steps, which is 3 days, which means the law changes 3 times. It's currently confused. 1, 2, 3, it's chivalry forbidden, charge recommended. What all these mean will become relevant later on. And as you can see, it takes 1, 2, 3 steps to get to that tile. Very useful because it means you can plan ahead what laws will be active when you are at a certain mission. And some laws are kind of irrelevant because you don't use anything that's in them. Some laws are good because, let's say I've got a character focusing hugely on doing ice damage, for example. If ice is obviously recommended, that would obviously be good. And some laws are terrible. For example, if I've got a whole party of guys hitting people with weapons, physical damage, and the law says fighting is forbidden, that would be very bad for me. Anyway, let's jump right in. Herb picking. I feel I've done way too much talking, but I just want to make sure everything is well understood before I sort of skip stuff that might be confusing then. We'll have to deal with these monsters first, then we can gather those herbs. I told you our clan does rough work. Kupo. Okay. And as we start a fight, we can sort of choose our party. Right now we have exactly 6 clan members, so we basically choose everyone. We hit select, that shows us the currently active laws, which means confuse is forbidden, berserk is allowed. We don't do either of those, the enemy does neither of those, so it's really quite irrelevant. Was it L to view? Yeah. L gives you view mode, which means I can check the status of my enemies. Example, this here is a sprite called Vic Tranky, and her abilities, I can check those as well. Using R? Yes, she has no abilities. These are very low level enemies, they can't really do anything yet, but yeah. I guess there's not much to do right now except for just starting the fight. Starting the fight. It defaults to yes. I for some reason thought it would default to no, so I changed and it... Yeah, you saw what happened. Anyway. Just a standard fight. These sprites are very fast, so they tend to get the first turn. Right now she's not dangerous. Later on, as they gain levels and get better abilities, they can become a real pain. Okay, Turner is our white monk and apparently our fastest party member. He is a white monk, which means he gets access to the monk tech special abilities. Right now the only one that he knows is Whirlwind, which is a quick spin attack, hits to the front, back and side. It's essentially he hits all enemies adjacent to him. But if I had an ally adjacent to myself, he would be hit as well. So really, AoEs don't discriminate between friend or foe. Something you have to be aware of. But of course what I really want to do is fight, so I will try to hit this fairy in the face. 24 damage. If I do the maximum damage, which is, you know, range of 10%, it could be 26, which would be a kill. But I only have a 40% chance to hit, because the only way I could reach the fairy at all, or the sprite at all, is by hitting it in the face. And they already have fairly good evasion, so it's not very likely that I'll hit. As you can see, it didn't work. Next is our archer. And I can show you something here. Archers have range, and she has the aim special abilities, which the only one she has right now is boost, which focuses energy to increase damage on next weapon attack. Essentially, I don't do anything this turn, but I get additional additional damage next turn. My chance to hit is 40% if I were to stand here, and if I go back and instead move here, I think that might improve my chance to hit. Because I'm now hitting from the side, it's actually 70%, so a lot higher. But I would also be essentially using up a melee range tile, so a melee character could not hit the sprite anymore. But there's none of my melee characters have enough movement to get there anyway, I believe. So it doesn't really matter right now, I can just do this. As I said, I'm not min-maxing these characters really. But there is one thing that I will do, and that is the way the experience system in the game works is whenever you successfully complete anything really, whenever you successfully do anything, you will get experience, and the experience you get is based on the highest level of any unit that you affected. And basically the higher the level of that unit, the better. Now if you affect yourself with the ability, then you will at least always have affected a unit of your own level. And if you affect a unit of your own level, that's 10 experience. And for each level that's above that, you get 2 bonus experience. So if I'm level 5 and I'm hitting a level 6 enemy, I will get 12 experience. If I'm level 5 and I hit a level 4 enemy, I will get 8 experience. There's a minimum of 1 experience, I don't believe there's a maximum. So if I were level 1 and hitting a level 50 enemy, you know, 49 levels difference, multiplied by 2, add that to 10, you will get a lot of experience. 49 times 2 is... you will get over 100. Anyway, I will now use Cure, even though everyone's at full health. But Cure has a 100% chance to hit, it only costs 6 MP, I get back 5 MP per turn, so it's not really... I'm not wasting much. And the MP regenerate between fights anyway. And I am targeting Mont Blanc, who is level 4. I think the White Mage is currently level 3, maybe even 2, I think 3 though, I don't know. Nope, level 2 actually. So I got 14 experience because I was level 2 and affected a level 4 target, which is Mont Blanc. I will be doing this quite a lot in fights, if I have nothing better to do, essentially. I mean, if there was one of my allies was actually in trouble and I needed to heal him, I would do that. It always takes precedence, but... if I were in a situation where I can't reach anyone, I would always be using just a random cure, even if no one needed the cure. It would still allow me to possibly let's move you right here and wait, because I do not want our main character to level up, because as I said, I want him to take an advanced drop so he gets better stats. But yeah, even if there's no useful... oh, I should probably explain this. Thunder is the lowest level of lightning spell. All of these fire, lightning and ice spells that Mont Blanc will learn have a range of... I guess... they hit the tile that I'm currently targeting, which would be this one. There's no one standing here, but it also hits the adjacent tiles. So this one, and this one. It's essentially like a little cross. If I were to target this enemy directly, because of its AoE effect, I would also be hitting my own guy. Not a good idea. Instead, if I hit this tile here, because of the cross, I will only be hitting my enemy. And my chance to hit and such doesn't depend on whether I target the enemy directly or whether he's just caught in the AoE. All of these 5 tiles that I'm hitting sort of are equally valuable, I guess. So you will see me do that quite often as well. Targeting a tile that no one is standing on to use the AoE effect to try and single out only the enemies. And then we go a judge point for just getting a normal kill. And yeah, it'll probably play out, it usually plays out so that my White Mage is the strongest party member, because pretty much every turn, unless someone really needs a heal, I will be using an ability on myself. Usually it'll be the normal cure, and that will end up giving me nice crit. Well, actually kind of useless because I didn't need that crit to get the kill, but anyway. And because I target myself, I will always be targeting a party member of my own level. Sort of trivial if I hit myself. It's how the game calculates experience. I will get 10 experience per turn. And as I begin to outlevel my enemies, chances are that, for example, my fighters, my sort of mages and warriors and all that, will be hitting targets of lower level than they themselves are. And that will... nice, he missed. And that will mean they don't get 10 experience per turn, often they'll get less. So I could now move... I could now heal Viola, she's taken 7 damage-ish. And I can just do a little trick and move in such a way that I hit Viola. And using R and L I can sort of cycle through the targets. So she gets healed. I can thus basically maintain her at full health. But I also hit myself. Which means, once again, I will hit a party member of at least my own level, which means I will get at least 10 experience. Just a little quirk in the game mechanics that you can really exploit to gain experience very quickly, especially on white mages. So that white mage will be getting lots of level ups as white mage, which aren't perfect. Ideally for a caster you would probably want these level ups as an advanced job called an alchemist. But basically, for the characters that I'm going to be min-maxing, I will essentially... Darn, 1 damage off. I don't like it when that happens. I will probably just be waiting until I happen to get an alchemist who wants to join my party, which isn't that unlikely. And then I will be using that alchemist as my sort of min-max caster, as a min-max caster guy. Okay, you can get behind this guy, so get the kill. Always try to get at least to the side of an enemy. Only attack from the front if you have no other option, basically. And as I said, min-maxing. The only character that I'm currently really somewhat trying to optimize is my main character. Let's move Mont Blanc right here. I can't get in a good position to hit enemies, so just do a blizzard to try and hit this guy, but it's only 45%, so not ideal. And as I said, future videos won't be as long because I won't be doing nearly as much explaining. There is an elevation system in the game, so if the enemy is too high above or too far below me, I cannot hit them with melee attacks. But this is only a difference of 1. So yeah, that does work, but okay, you just do a normal fight. Sirens outside, I hope they're not too loud. And enemies and also our own party members get a slightly different animation, I guess, when they're in low health, below 10% maybe. They will sort of be crouching down and no longer actively having an idle walking animation. Once again, doing this for the experience. I wouldn't need to actually do the heal, but, you know, experience. The white mage will outlevel all my other characters quite swiftly, but sort of stay a white mage, which isn't ideal. I mean, eventually I'll give him black mage abilities as well, but there are at least 4 or 5 white mage abilities that I want to learn before I start moving him, her. I don't know if Numu are all female. No, it. Yeah, I want some specific white mage abilities before I move it down the black mage and such path. And I waited on my main character because, as I said, I do not want him to gain level ups as a soldier. I want, if possible, to master two abilities of the soldier class and then change him to a fighter before he gets even a single level up, just so that I have the most stats once I've reached max level, which is 50. Might not happen in this LP, but, you know, might as well try and play it perfectly, because I'm at least trying to go for 100% playthrough, so bear that in mind. And I will mark the episodes, and I'll basically be telling, it'll say side quest or main quest. I've seen that in another LP. And basically, if it says side quest, I'm just doing optional stuff. If it says main quest, I will be doing actual story relevant stuff. Some of the side quests are sort of optional but quite interesting and important, and they might involve the main characters in a little way, but they will not be stuff that you need to do to progress the story. And anything that's main quest is something that you probably don't want to miss because it's important. Side quest stuff, if you just want to skip it, that's perfectly fine. Okay, and that was all of them. He thinks. What were we looking for, Kupo? Some kind of medicinal herb. Something? Muskmalloy. That grows all over the place, Kupo. Huh? Really? Yeah, there's some right there. And over there, too. I used to pick it all the time when I was little, Kupo. Yep, you're still little, actually. The info fee for this mission was cheap, wasn't it? Well, it was pretty cheap, I guess. That figures. Still, it's probably good to start slow. Let's pick us some herbs and get back to town, Kupo. Dun, dun, dun. Alright, herb picking cleared. Location, Lucia Pass. And as I said, this is a mountain location. And Lucia Pass goes... goes here. And I will just very quickly do the treasure collecting. These should be red boots. Ta-da! Ain't I good? Okay, and that was the second episode. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, leave any feedback you have. If I know this one was fairly talky, they will get less talky now. So if that's your only complaint, just go with it and it'll get better. And yeah, I guess that's it. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.